Let's call this meeting to order. If you please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks everyone for coming tonight, and here we are, the last week of May, believe it or not. Any adjustments to the agenda? None? Public hearing? None? Okay, I guess now it's my turn. We're gonna do a presentation. This is the time of year, I'm gonna stand up here so people can hear me. This is the time of year that we roll out our annual reports. We have the opportunity to showcase some of the things the town's done over the past year. We have the opportunity to have some letters from our department heads. We have the opportunity to remember some of the folks that have passed throughout the past year. But we also have the opportunity to dedicate this town report to someone that, or a group, a person or a group that's been influential to our town. Usually it's dedicated to someone or a group that they don't want to be in the limelight, they don't want to be in front of people, but tonight we're gonna have to do that. So, without further ado, what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna dedicate this year's town report to Nick DePatsy. If Nick could come up here and stand next to me. We got the. I want to read our dedication. Bear with me. Nick DePatsy's passion for basketball and his dedication to teaching and coaching young athletes shines through his remarkable 34-year career as a high school basketball coach. Over the years, he has coached at 4 high schools, leading approximately 650 varsity games. Is that number right?
Yeah.
Okay. And achieving an impressive 431 wins. Nick's roots run deep in Waldoboro, where he was born and raised and educated. He is the son of Nicholas and Alice DePatsy. He has excelled as a student athlete and if there was a ball to throw or kick around, Nick could be found with it. It probably all started with him throwing the bowling balls at his family's bowling alley, DePatsy's Lanes.
Wasn't that good?
In 1982, Nick graduated from Monongah Valley High School, where he was the varsity letter winner for the basketball team and earned the MVP his senior year. Nick's love for the sport was evident. Like most high school seniors, he was trying to figure out what direction to go. With encouragement from his parents, Nick went on to attend University of Maine at Farmington in the fall of 1982. When home on breaks, you could find Nick digging clams on the dock river. While at UMF, Nick began coaching sub-varsity teams in nearby schools. After graduation, he served as a Division III college assistant and the JV coach at the Westbrook High School before becoming the head coach at Madison High School. After 3 years and 36 wins, he returned to Waldoboro to build his home with his wife, Michelle. Nick and Michelle raised 2 kids, Nicholas and Gabby, who were very active in sports. Nick enthusiastically coached them in basketball, Little League, and softball throughout the years. Continuing his coaching career along his work as an educator at Appleton and Lincolnville Elementary Schools, Nick was the head coach at Georges Valley High School for 10 years, achieving 94 wins and 8 consecutive regional tournament appearances, including 2 trips to Western Maine C Finals. He then coached Lincoln Academy in Newcastle for 3 years, securing 29 wins and contributing to the Eagles' tournament success. In 2007, Nick returned to Monongah Valley High School, where he has since earned 272 wins and maintained a remarkable tournament presence for all 18 years of his tenure. At Madomic, Nick has received 14 Coach of the Year awards, secured 6 Kennebec Valley Athletic Conference championships, and made 9 regional final appearances, winning in 2013 and 2015. Notably, he has led the team through two undefeated seasons. Nick's impact extends beyond the high school teams. He also oversees Waldeboro's Pee Wee basketball program, which serves as a vital feeder system for the successful high school teams. His dedication and development of this foundation is the key factor to his long-term success. A significant milestone in Coach DePatsky's career occurred in December 2023 when he achieved his 400th career win as Madomic Valley defeated Morris High School, making him only the 34th varsity basketball coach in Maine history and just the 10th in the KVAC to reach this achievement. Most of the players on the Panther teams throughout the years have grown up with Coach DePatsky. He has inspired, mentored, and developed countless individuals in the community, setting a positive example for others to follow. We are deeply grateful for your contributions. Thank you.
We got to do very good lives.
I'll give one to Alice.
Thank you.
And folks, we have the POXA annual report, so when you leave, you certainly have those.
Surprise, surprise.
So that's the dedication.
That was awesome.
Good job, Michelle.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't even, no idea. No. They got a meeting, I don't care about that.
Good seeing you, Alice.
Bye, bye-bye. She did pretty good. She had him going.
Nick, you gotta take him to dinner now. Yeah, no.
That's not. No. Well done.
Okay, yeah, next presentation, we have different record. Oh, we're postponing that? We're going to postpone recognition of the Park and Recreation and Public Works. Citizen comments, any comments from the citizens? No one wants to speak? Select board comments.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'd just like to talk a little bit about the meeting that happened last week at Pay As You Throw. For some reason, trash gets people into two very vocal camps. And I'd just like to say, if you're recycling now, good job. We love it. It saves the town money. If you're not recycling now, why don't you try and save the town some money by recycling as much as you can? That's something that those two sides should be able to agree on.
Bill Maxwell asked me to remind folks that the Historical Society bell ringing concert will take place on Saturday, May 31st at 4 o'clock. So he's encouraging folks to attend and saying, well, you know, after that concert, you can go have a meal downtown somewhere. So nice combination of things to do on a Saturday evening. That's what I have to say.
Good. And I have nothing, believe it or not. Town managers report,
I have nothing tonight.
nothing from Julie.
Nothing from me.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Bob,
I just remembered there's something else I have to say.
Too late.
How could I forget this? The library is having a raffle, Red Sox tickets. And I think you get 2 for $5 or 3 for 10. I just happen to have some available for sale. So let me know if you're interested and I'll make sure you get them. And other members of the library have them too. And I think they're going to be announcing the winner of this on Waldeboro Day. So they'll be available at the library table on Waldeboro Day too. Yep. Thank you. Sorry.
motion to approve the consent calendar,
So moved.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? New business. 1.1, we're gonna have an overview with an update from Matt Weaver, who's our First National Wealth Manager. Hi, Matt. Good seeing you again.
Good to see you all. I distributed this last week to Peg, and I think you all have that. It's our presentation material. Despite the negative headlines you may have seen, this year regarding the effects of tariffs and, what they might do to growth and company profits. I've got some good news to report. Going to this page here, it's a performance overview of the trust fund. Just to give you some background, we've had the town's funds for I think almost 20 years now. And when this fund was started, it was about $1 million. It's 2.5 million now, and it covers all of the sub accounts or trust accounts that we manage. Most of them being, all of them being perpetual in nature, scholarship accounts. For instance, we also have a separate account for the cemetery funds, as you know. And I just wanted to show you the fiscal year to date number, which is the middle column, fiscal year to date, which is slightly positive for the year through April, which we're proud of. The reason for that, despite the fact that domestic markets are down at this point 5% year to date, is because of our international exposure in Europe and the Far East, where those markets have fared better than domestic year to date. So along with the bond allocation, the portfolio, which throws off anywhere from 4 to 5% return and provides a ballast when equity funds are volatile. We've been able to get a 0.5% return against a benchmark, which is negative this year, just under 0.12%. The latest 1 year number is just under 8% at 7.66. The 3 year number, which is annualized, is just under 7% at 6.71. And the 5 year number, also annualized, is just under 8%. So we've had a very good run in markets. 2023 and 2024 were very good years as we bounced back from a terrible bond market in 22. Once the Fed stopped raising rates, these equity markets started to recover. And so we'll kind of keep diversified and providing alpha to the town through good returns against the benchmark, relative returns. The cemetery fund, similar numbers here. This fund's about 400,000. The fiscal year to date numbers is just about 1%. The 1 year is 8.5%. The 3 years right there at 7% annualized, and the 5 years at 7.5%. So overall, we're very pleased with our international exposure. We've always had a pretty healthy exposure to international markets, and for years, domestic markets have outperformed international. And the reason for that is, well, simply because we have Silicon Valley and no one else does. And those 7 companies, Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, they've all fueled our domestic markets over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Now there's some uncertainty with tariffs and what, how they're going to affect the profits for these companies. And so we saw the growth part of the market, which is those companies, pull back this year, and the more value-oriented sectors like healthcare, industrials, utilities have outperformed growth year to date. So, we make sure that we have broad exposure to both value and growth, broad exposure to all markets, and that diversification has paid off this year. I can go through the portfolios quickly if you like, or if you have that information there, or I can take questions regarding our portfolio and our investment process.
Yeah, I think if you go through the portfolio real quick.
Yeah, sure. Also want to note the Barron Scholarship Fund, which is
also one that we manage here. Again, it's a perpetual fund where we want to have a 60-40 allocation of stocks over bonds to keep that fund going in perpetuity. That fund has done very well. We're up about 30% since January of 23 on an annualized basis. We're looking at about 12% on that fund. So in January of 23, that the Barron Fund had a value of about 300,000. It's now 387,000. So good for the kids, right? The trust fund, the larger of the two funds here, go over that quickly. And provide some information on our process. On page 3 of this portfolio report, you'll see where we have that diversification that I spoke about. We have international large cap covered here with Dodge and Cox. We have the Fidelity Growth Fund, which owns all of those companies that I just mentioned. We have a couple other Fidelity funds that provide exposure to mid cap stocks. We have exposure to both small cap and emerging markets as well. So we vet these funds annually through our investment committee process. And we occasionally make changes or add to our mix. Once we look at performance from the prior year and determine if we need to make a change based on performance or anything such as a manager, a fund manager change, we might make a change due to that. On the second page here, you'll see the list of CDs and individual bonds that we buy. We have several here that are throwing off a yield over 5.5%. That period of that where we could buy bonds with that type of yield was it was about 3 or 4 months, and then we saw rates start to come down a little bit. But overall, we have a lot of CDs and bonds here that are north of 4%. Overall, that's 4.26 yield on the fixed income side. So we're starting to go out a little bit and extend our duration, meaning we're buying more bonds and CDs with 5 or 6 year maturities, because we think that the Fed's going to cut rates at least a couple times towards the end of the year. And when the Fed cuts rates, bond prices go up. And we're not comfortable going out to 10 or 20 years, but we are extending that duration a little bit, to that 6-7 year time frame. So the cemetery account, similar to how we manage the trust fund, with the exception that we don't use individual bonds or CDs, because this account is about $400,000. So we stick to the bond funds here, and the performance has been great. The bond funds have performed very well this year. Again, we keep our exposure to bonds short to intermediate, and we make sure that we have inflation protected bonds in here, and some international exposure as well. So overall, we're very pleased. Now I'll take your questions.
Bob, you got something.
Doing a good job.
Thanks, Bob.
And I agree with you on the maturities and the bonds. I think it's good to hold back a little bit.
Yeah. The risk reward doesn't make sense. When we still have sort of a compressed, yields between 10 year and the 30 years, not a lot of difference there. There's maybe 20 basis points. So, I'd rather, take a 5-year, 6 or 7 year bond or CD, usually with call protection. So I'm getting a little bit higher yield, but it might get called away in a couple of years, which is okay too.
Well, and you're maintaining enough liquidity on those scholarship funds, especially. I think you're assuming a 5% draw each year.
Yeah.
On those funds.
Yeah.
So the liquidity is more than sufficient to cover that. What you have in cash covers that. So.
Yeah, and the
Fund
bond
investment.
funds as well. We can liquidate it or divest those if we need to, if we don't have enough cash in the account.
Yep.
But overall, we're pleased, and more money for the kids, which is great. And
It's going up.
yeah.
Anyone else?
I got a question. Pat.
Everything going good? You happy?
Very happy.
Okay.
So-
If she's happy, then you're golden.
As you know, we approved the spending policy, and so I had done the calcs beforehand, before I gave it to the Trevor, that was helpful,
Yes.
and it was spot on, like it was exactly what I thought it was gonna be, so I was really impressed with that. Because, things can be a little complicated, and to make a complicated thing more simple, I think is like one of the best attributes. So, thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Appreciate you coming in.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. 10.2 Personnel Policy Initial Review. I know that the town manager had emailed these to us. I couldn't print mine, but Peg has emailed them to us. All right, printing them for us. Julie, do you want to talk about this?
So every year we do a review of the personnel policy. We did a review this year. This is the first draft of suggested changes. Bob did send me some changes. They're not incorporated into what you have in front of you. Basically it complies with brings it into a line with what we're actually doing, and it changes some language along the way. So I just didn't know. I wanted you to be able to look at it. The changes are all in red. Hopefully the red printed out on the computer. But I wanted to get it in front of you so that we could get it adopted
Can we
at some point.
take these, since now we all have paper copies? Cause I had a hard time reading on my phone. I couldn't print it.
Yes. And make
take-
changes and send them to
bring it
me or
back to
drop
the
them
next
off. Yep.
meeting?
Yep.
That good with everyone? Bring it back to the next meeting now that we have paper copies?
Yep.
I know Bob, I did see Bob had a lot,
I just had a
Chopped it,
comment
chopped.
about the visitation part. My suggestion was that we take that out of the personnel policy because every department has different visitation policies. EMS, for example, has one and they're concerned about HIPAA. So the town policy shouldn't have to deal with that. That's EMS's bailiwick. I'm guessing police have other concerns, so I just thought let it clean that part of it up a little bit. And I love what you've done, Julie. I think it's really, and Peg. Mostly Peg, I think. But it really, they're good changes. Clarifies a lot.
We try.
okay, so we'll bring that back up on the next meeting.
Thank you.
Old business. 11.1. Look like Mark's gonna talk to us about code violation.
All right, we got two things to go over with you today. One, there's a violation at 1033 Old Augusta Road. This one was reported in approximately at 5/30/24, so almost a year ago. And had to do with it was a complaint that came in through Maine CDC, if I'm not mistaken, to Derek, and Derek and I both went out as a team.
Main CDC.
Maine CDC is where the complaint came up from another source.
Right.
So, so we went out, we did an inspection, we noticed that there was a large amount of trash and other stuff around the property. And including, there were a bunch of unregistered vehicles as well. So, several different occasions, we've, including a phone conversation with a Mrs. Gould, which was on 8/8/24, trying to get the property back up to the specs. There are some of the photos, I don't know if you can really see them too clearly, that should have been forwarded to you on the back of the page. As of today, I went up and did a re-inspection of the property. Excuse me. I do have a couple of photos. There has been some work done at the place. I was able to actually talk to somebody working there. He didn't really identify himself, but he was not like a family member or anything. He was just helping out the family. So, I'll pass this around. This is what most part, that is what it looks like today. Hold on one second. Kind of gives you an idea of what it looked like before. And that's just the front view of today as well. New roof going on, it's like. So I'm pleased that we're making, forward progress on this. I would like to work with the property owner to finish getting rid of the cars and there's a slight bit more that needs to be done. But all in all, we're definitely making some good headway on that one. So I'm very pleased.
Any questions from Mark on this one? Thank you. So just keep following up with it.
Yeah, what I would like to do is I will put this on the docket for 1 month from now, just to make sure that there's follow up and we do finish the project.
As we get
But
lost in the mix, yeah.
yes, yes.
I'm just trying to see if I read it in this report or the other one. Is this the one where you were denied access to the inside of the property?
No,
Okay,
that's the other one.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, this was just the exterior that we're dealing with on this one. It was nothing to do with the interior.
This is one of those cases where it's just a matter of manpower. I looked at the roof there and obviously they need a new roof, so these people don't seem like they have too much in the way of the means to get things done. And if it's just a question of labor.
Yeah, this is,
My name to her.
the owners are basically, they live in Thomaston.
Okay.
And this is the second piece of property they own in
Oh.
Waldeboro. So this, the last I knew, correct me if I'm wrong, their son was living there with a female companion. I'm not sure how the relationship worked,
Yeah.
but are you involved in this? or-
No.
Okay, all right.
Next one,
Ah,
or maybe the next.
I had been told that the owner was going to be here tonight, but I have not seen anybody.
So are you looking for action from the board or is this just a report?
As of now, with the progress that we've made as of today, I would like to hold off and give them 30 days to complete this and hopefully we can close this. So that's what I'm looking to do.
So, in the initial report too, I don't know if you can see that picture, but there was a deck on front of that was gonna fall off. And they've since taken care of that. That was a big one for us, I think, just kind of in terms of like improvement to it was like a dangerous piece of the property. Obviously ideal mostly with trash on the health officer side, but in terms of that piece, we caught that right off the bat. So
Is that deck repaired now?
it's gone.
It's gone?
It was like rotting away entirely.
Okay.
Yeah, they get it propped up.
That's a good job for CHIP and Community Cares Day, just
Good
for
to
future
know, but
reference.
yeah, in terms of safety and that sort of thing, it was gonna fall in and so. They basically just got rid of it, which I think we sort of said, hey, that deck is unsafe at some point along the line, and they took care of that. So certainly, the pictures I saw today from Mark, obviously really good improvement on that one, so.
Any other questions about that one? All right, the next one is 2500 Winslow Mills Road. This is a warehouse, and this has been a violation since Stan was here in 2021. There's been various communications back and forth. There was a bit of confusion as far as the initial owner lived in Florida, husband and wife combo. The husband basically had control of the property. He entered into a sales agreement with Bobby Young and Robert Emery. They basically were doing a purchase agreement with them over time. Since that point, just recently, that property has changed hands twice. One, the sale was completed to Robert Emery. And then two, Robert Emery signed the property over to an LLC. I don't remember the exact name of it. There we go. So basically, I've had conversations with them. The issue that we run into with that is there were 2 apartments that were put into that place, including plumbing and a bunch of other stuff. The original warehouse was set up as a warehouse, and that the septic system was designed for the warehouse and the warehouse only. Wasn't designed for any bathrooms or anything else. So the issue that we got is a twofold issue on this one. One, we can't be running multiple apartment complexes out of the place and run the warehouse as well. We can do something or some type, but it has to meet the flow of what that septic system will handle. With that being said, the other thing is we need to get access to that to figure out what exactly those apartments are looking like. We've been denied access since I've been working on this, since I took over for Stan. So at some point in time, we need access to that to basically show, that is either going to, we have to come up with a master plan, first of all. What is it that this building is going to be used for? What is the design septic flow that is going to be acceptable? And then we need to do a certificate of occupancy that shows that everything that's there is legal and up to snuff. Right now, it is not. So the septic design was for 4 full-time employees and 8 employees with a flow of 300 gallons a minute. 300 gallons per day. That'd be a lot. The issue that we have is, again, it was designed for the warehouse at that flow. On top of that, you have a plumbing permit that was pulled that has 3 showers, 4 wash basins, 4 water closets or toilets, and 2 water heaters, which basically show that it's geared for a minimum of 2 apartments. And the thing that the state calculates its usage for septic by the number of bedrooms, not bathrooms. That's how they do it, because they figure the number of people that are sleeping there, that's what your usage is going to be geared off of. So again, until we can go through the process of figuring out what it is, the apartment has never been issued a certificate of occupancy. And again, we need to figure out what's going on as far as is it going to be used as a warehouse? Is it going to be used as an apartment and a warehouse? And we need to come up with what it is and make sure everything's approved. But as of this point, I did offer up, and I think I included that with your packet, and I also sent it off to both owners, a consent agreement, which basically would spell out what needs to be done in order to correct this and keep it out of the hands of the court. At this time, I haven't heard back from anybody as far as if they're willing to, accept the terms of that consent agreement or not. But
Ryan's here right now.
So I didn't sign the consent agreement. My daughter is out of town. I didn't think it would make much sense. So she's back in town to sign it. Excuse me. We're in process. The apartment's already vacant. We just purchased the property. The apartment's already vacant. And I'm having trouble getting into the building myself. There's a marijuana grow in the building, highly regulated. So I can't even go in my own building, and we're trying to evict them as well behind, and trying to get them out is proven difficult. So if you can imagine. And so I just got off the phone with Roy walking in here, marijuana grow lawyer, trying to get access for tomorrow so I can assess what we talked about and have access. So I'm working on it best I can offer you. I've owned the building like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that.
no, and to be honest with you, the most conversations I've had have been with Ryan. I've actually had Bobby into the office. She's been a vested member in this since when Stan was here. I have emails going back to her and Stan. So she's perfectly aware of everything that's going on with this. This is not something new to everybody that's on board. It's new to Ryan. And Ryan seems very, willing to work with us and stuff like that. However, I was told back in 12/10/24 that they were gonna be evicting any tenants that were in there, so it wouldn't be a violation and we could go from there. That, to the best of the issues, that still hasn't happened. There's still cars up there, there's still, and I still haven't been granted access to the building in order to do an inspection and figure out what we're dealing with. So.
Let's be going with it.
Well, the biggest issue is, and it all depends on what avenue you want to do with the building, to be honest with you. It depends on, is it going to be a warehouse? We had a phone call today that, somebody stated that they might be interested in the building as a warehouse. So.
We have to get it vacant before we do anything. That's the goal right now.
Right. I guess that where my frustration comes in is we've been dealing with this individual for a year and a half. And Stan's been dealing with this individual for a longer period of time before I was here, and we still have not been able to solve any of these issues. So my feeling is that we need to hold something to them in order to force their hand to comply, because nothing has worked as of yet. And I'm at a standstill right now.
Yeah. Been through the eviction process multiple times. Is there any paperwork saying that you have filed papers to evict these? There is. Is that acceptable to you if he can prove that he's in the process?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no reason I can't do an inspection on
Other than if it's
the
a
warehouse
really-
portion. I understand that, and we'll get in there when we can.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the warehouse portion is not as much of a concern
Yeah.
as the apartments. Those were done, those were never inspected, they were never, approved. And we don't know what we're dealing with
So
those.
the only access is through the marijuana grow?
No. No, they have a separate door, separate entrance.
Basement. I cannot get in the basement.
No, but we can see what the bathrooms are, the bedrooms, the whole layout. And that can be a determination to find out, is it even a legal apartment? Again, until I can get in there, I'm.
Well, if it doesn't have a certificate of occupancy.
No.
Which it clearly doesn't, it's not legal.
No.
We have grounds.
Yes, we do.
Well, I think we ought to authorize you to exercise those grounds at your discretion. My view.
The problem is that I can access property under the state
I didn't
code.
mean grounds by property. By grounds, I meant going the legal way.
Yeah, and that's
Getting the court order.
that's a possibility. We can go down that road.
Yeah.
But we need to.
Mike, yeah, if the owner can't get in there, well, why is that? Is it a question of getting a locksmith out there, or is it, are there armed guards in the building? Why can't you get in it?
Trespass off the property for trying to go in, because of the marijuana grow. I can't tell you the laws.
Do you need a uniformed officer to go up there with you?
They've been there several times.
And they, if a cruiser showed up and and a locksmith at the same time,
I got keys to the end of the apartment, but you can't get to the plumbing part, what I thought he wanted me to correct, but. Is that not what you wanted me to correct? I can't get to the plumbing to cut it off.
We need to figure out a couple of things, what it is your intentions are of the building. Right. So
Getting the building vacant is my intention, then going from there.
Okay.
That's my intention.
Okay.
And I can't do anything until I do that.
You have access to the apartments, correct?
Bobby does, yes. I don't have keys to.
So we're being denied access to the apartment. I can't even get in there and do an assessment on the apartments without that. And we can work on getting in touch with the owners of the marijuana grow in order to get access to that. So that's My issue is that I'm being denied access to the building. I can't even make a decision on what it is because
Access to the building, I just told you, you go in. I don't have keys myself.
Right. Bobby has keys. Bobby has owned this property since before I started here. So again, I mean, I don't like to sound like the bad guy, but
I gotta say, you own the property, but you can call a locksmith and change the locks.
Well, my partner, as I explained, will be back in town tomorrow. That's why I didn't sign the consent. I didn't think there was any sense in doing that until she was here. We both have to sign. She'll be back in town. We can make an appointment. That's really simple to me. I don't.
This is what I'd like to see. You know, Ryan been owning the property for 3 weeks, you said?
If not quite.
If we could give him the time to get with is it Bobby?
Yeah.
Tomorrow she'll be back.
She'll be back tomorrow.
So maybe by our next meeting, the 10th, you can get some of this rectified
Absolutely.
with Mark to get him access to the apartment. And then we'll take it from there.
yeah, as long as I get access so we can make a plan on moving forward, what needs to be done. Because it's not just the inspection, it's what are we gonna do? Because
Well-
right now it's illegal.
Well, that's right. And then it sounds like Ryan's has been having conversation with some lawyers on the eviction process, and that Edmonton evicting someone nowadays is incredibly
Well, there-
difficult.
Yeah, I
And
understand,
especially where you're dealing with, it's a marijuana grow place, so there's others,
right.
I don't know myself.
I understand the eviction, but I also know that within 24 hours notice, you're allowed to have access to your property.
Right.
So there's absolutely no reason why I've been waiting over a year.
Well,
To gain access.
I called last week, marijuana grower, to get access for this week, and I still don't have access.
Mhm.
So this is what I'm up against.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to pull any wool over your eyes here at all. We're gonna make the building compliant. It's
I-
gonna be something better than what it is right now, I can guarantee you. So,
I can fill you in on some of the details that you probably are not privy to. So, or maybe you are, but there's some other things that you might want to know about, and that could be why you're being precluded from entering that property. So,
you've been told things, and I know a lot of things too.
okay, yeah, I'm more than willing to work with you, but right now I've seen no progress, zero, Ryan. And
Here, that's the progress.
Can we have a progress report during our next meeting?
Well, the next meeting will be the
The
10th,
10th of June,
and we'll get an update and
and hopefully
see what
things
the
will have
progress
been
are, and,
moving forward.
Ryan's 3 weeks into the ownership, so he's now really feeling the heat of it.
well, yeah, he's feeling the heat and I feel bad for him, but nonetheless, this is not, and this is what I tried to explain to him. It's not like this problem has just crept up in the
Well, right,
last
but
few days.
It's
So,
Mark, but it is crept up to him right now initially.
at him,
Yeah, at
correct.
him, because
Right.
he's the owner now, so it's his name and his reputation that's on the line, and not the previous owner. So we're talking with Ryan.
that's not true because the previous owner is actually involved
The
as well.
co-owner, but give him a chance to get with the co-owner to get this figured out.
As long as we can do that, but yeah,
Just dotting the i's and crossing the t's. This sale has been recorded at the Lincoln County Registry of Deeds. Yeah, okay.
So on the 10th, we'll get
Is,
an update.
is it a different process for getting rid of a marijuana grow versus a tenant? Or are they just considered a tenant?
they're a tenant. So.
Is it a different process for accessing your property? So as somebody who's owned apartments, I just have to say, I'm coming tomorrow at 10, and as long as
There
I
are-
get
there are
24 hours,
other-
I can just walk in.
There are other situations that I would rather not talk about in this forum.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. So,
Thank you.
Talk about it then.
10th. Thank you.
Thank you.
We could do an executive meeting next week.
Yeah, we could. And looks like now we got a contract, approve a contract for AFSCME. Where is that contract anyway?
I didn't see the paperwork.
I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
Julie, you know anything about that? Pam?
I thought it was emailed to you with your packet.
Get the email.
No, I think it's email.
Well, then, if you haven't seen it, we'll have to put it off to the next meeting.
I don't remember seeing it.
Make a motion, we table that.
Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded to table that till the next meeting? Oh, yes, we definitely want to have table that.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we just saw it. All in favor of tabling? Okay. Next, we move on to the agendas for the next meeting. We got two already?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about,
3.
You got personnel policy and the AFCME.
And progress report on.
Oh.
Code violation.
and then the progress report on the code violation.
Yep.
And then that will be election night too, right?
Yeah.
Will be Bob's last meeting.
It will be.
I request a public hearing on June 10th for North Country Windmills.
Oh, cool.
Public hearing from North Country.
Did I hear you guys say you got the email from Julie?
No.
Do you want me to see if I can run and print them off for you here?
I got a copy of it right here.
Want me to just
Yeah,
run
get
them off?
copies so we can have copies, but this is,
Don't need to do it now.
you don't think it's right a second.
We're not gonna do anything tonight. We're tabling
No?
it.
Yeah, but we wanna, some people wanna read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. if we
But
could leave with it,
it's the
that'd be
contract, so
helpful.
we gotta keep confidential, so.
Okie dokie.
Anything else for the next meeting?
Sure, there's something.
What's that?
I'm sure there's something.
Something else will come out.
Well, just remember, it's election night, so
Right,
you might want to keep it a little shorter than normal.
keep it light. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?